Joining us now, great to welcome on our Book Talk segment. Woman has written a book that's hopefully going to help a lot of folks listening in that are married or maybe going to get married or thinking about it. It's called It Takes One to Tango, How I Rescued My Marriage with Almost No Help from My Spouse and How You Can Too. And we're joined today by Winifred Reilly. She is a psychotherapist specializing in marital therapy and relationship issues out in Berkeley, California. She joined us by telephone now. And Winifred, good to talk with you today. How are you?
I'm well. How are you? Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm doing great. How are things in California out there? I guess wild as always, right?
Wild as always, cold and rainy, unlike what you would expect.
Oh, really? That's unusual for out there. You're in Northern California, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, you can't get that out there. But it's a nice state. I've been out there several times. But, yeah, we're starting to get hot here in Florida. So that's just the way it is. But, first of all, thank you for being with us today. I had a chance to read through the book. I know we were scheduled a couple of weeks ago, but appreciate you taking the time today on your book tour. And this book kind of based a little bit on your own relationship or marriage. You talk about it in the book, but also from your therapy sessions with many people you talk to, and kind of a little different take on relationship therapy, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, there's a conventional expectation that when couples are in trouble or they're struggling, that it takes two partners to put 2 feet into it, that both people have to be willing to work on things. And what I've discovered both in my own marriage and as a therapist of 30-plus years is that it's very rare that two people are spontaneously inspired, simultaneously motivated to change things. And then sometimes one person is looking to change some aspect of the marriage that the other one doesn't really think is a problem. And so people end up staying stuck if we can't talk about it if you don't want to talk about it. And then marriages stagnate and people come in saying, we can't talk about this, we can't do this, I can't change that. And the question I always have for them is, who made these rules and why can't you challenge them?
They always see, portrayed on movies or TV, when it's about a relationship or, let's go get therapy. Usually one person, could be the man or the woman, just doesn't want to do it because they think everything may be fine, right? So that's the issue.
Yeah, or yes, sometimes they think everything's fine. I think often someone's afraid. People have often said, I don't really want to go into therapy. That's for people who are about to get divorced.
Right.
Or they're just going to point out all the ways in which we're doing it wrong, and I'm just going to feel bad. And so people drag their feet, or they have serious issues, and they know that if they go into therapy, these things are going to get onto the table, and they're not really ready to deal with them. So there's a whole bunch of reasons why people don't come in. And while I encourage, and 90% of my practice is where both partners in the couple come in, I encourage people whose spouse won't do therapy to come on and work on your marriage by yourself.
Yeah, it always seems, I guess another reason is a lot of people don't want to tell their, maybe intimate problems to basically a stranger, right? That's another thing you have to overcome, isn't it, when you go to therapy?
Yeah, there's a way in which a good therapist is a kind of a warm, welcoming party, often a much better listener than your spouse. So people are really kind of ready to go. Yeah, I'm paying attention. I care. I'm focused only on them. It's a refreshing experience. So I think people get over that pretty quickly. It's kind of like people sink into my couch, but after they get over being terrified of what's going to happen, they're just relieved that they're finally doing something.
Probably after a while, once they accept that, they just open up the floodgates, right?
Actually, my mother-in-law once said, why do you have 3 boxes of tissues in your office? Yes.
Well, I'm sure you've heard stories that probably even surprised you, right, as a marital therapist. I guess there's no two marriages are obviously alike, so, but I guess there's a lot of basic tenets that are part of all relationships that people have to work on.
I get surprised, but the longer you've been at it, there's really nothing new under the sun. People argue about stupid nonsense. People are in the tug of war about which way to drive to the freeway, who knows the better way to fold the dish towels, and who started. I mean, my husband and I, back in our worst days, could actually argue about who started the argument. So people, that one's really fun. That can go on forever. And so people get stuck in these loops. So there's not that much new under the sun, except for that every marriage is different. People are different. People have different strengths. And one of the key things that I try to engage is people's strengths. What do you have? What do you want? Where do you want to go? How are you going to take a deep breath and go there? I encourage people to take risks, to talk about things or even think about things that they hadn't dared to think about, things that they long for, things that they're wishing for, not just, I wish that he would pick up his socks, which that is also true. That's also really problematic. But just, how do you want your relationship to be? What kind of spouse do you want to be? And I try and engage people with a sense of adventure, of taking some risks, of going outside their comfort zone, to talk about things that are difficult, to even dream about things that they don't think can happen.
Isn't the little things that, like you said, that people tend to argue about that are really meaningless, they're kind of masking maybe some bigger issues that either side just doesn't want to get into? That's basically it, right?
Well, people, the little stuff, I write in my book a lot about, I have a chapter called The Big Picture.
Right.
And it's all about how people can identify what are they really fighting about. You can't possibly be really fighting about where to put the olive oil or, like these things, or which way to hang toilet paper, or, who took a snarkier tone with the other. But the deeper issues are these big picture issues of things like trust and sense of self and commitment and power and and so underneath all of these go-rounds that people get into, there's a larger issue going on. And so I actually teach people to pause and to ask themselves, what's really going on here? And sometimes they observe things like, what's really going on is I'm really stubborn. I ask people to look at themselves, not what's going on with their partner, what's going on with me. I'm really digging my heels in here. I'm not really listening very well. Or I'm afraid to speak up. That I ask people, slow down and start looking at what is going on besides an argument about why didn't you make the bed. Well, I'm frustrated. Well, I feel like I talk and nothing happens, and then I feel dumb, or I feel powerless, or I just get enraged, and then I act like my mother. Like, I ask people to get a sense of what's the actual thing that's going on, because you can't solve a problem when you don't know what it is.
And you even say the term in the book, marriage is trial and error, right? You could fall 7 times, and the 8th time you stand up, that's the thing.
Yeah, all of these, that's right. All of the attempts to change things, people say, oh, I already tried that. And I say, how many times? Once. It didn't work. And I like to say, you ever go to a hotel and you got that plastic key and you try it on the door and it doesn't work? Do you put it in your pocket and just say, I guess I'm not getting into my room? You wipe it on your skirt, you bang it on the wall, you curse at it, you try it again, and then you finally get in, or you have to plod down to the desk. But people don't just stand there for 20 years.
Do you find in your practice, Winifred, more people, I guess people say, or at least you read the statistics, people are waiting longer to get married, or maybe not as many people getting married. Is that the case, or are people interested in getting married?
I think, well, the statistics are accurate that fewer people are getting married and people are waiting longer to get married. There's also, the later marriages, people marrying even just out of their teens, people marrying in their late 20s and early 30s have had more experiences, and they're maybe better prepared. They've had more relationships. They have kind of a little more of their feet on the ground with their career. But honestly, marriage is just challenging. Right. You start early, you start later. I started working with a couple in their 60s who just got married. This is second marriage for both of them. And they're just all the same things. There are just all the ways in which we're all kind of hard to live with, and we have to learn how to get along. It's like kindergarten, right? We have to learn how to get along, and we have to learn what's important to us, what we're going to let go of. I never tell people, oh, just don't sweat the small stuff, because sometimes what looks like the small stuff is actually the big stuff. So
Right.
I say to people, figure out what's really important to you, and don't give up on the things that are important. The try, fall 7 times, stand up 8 idea is, when you're trying to influence somebody, when you're trying to ask for something, you're not going to sell, you're not going to sell your idea immediately. But I really want people to take the lead, to not give up, to know that they actually have more power than they think, even when their partner is not coming along. I sometimes say that what we need to learn as couples is not how to agree, but actually the most skillful, successful couples know how to disagree.
God never said it was going to be easy, so I guess it isn't supposed to be.
No, but it's not easy. It's not easy. It's an adventure, and I recommend it, but it is not. But it's not easy. We learn a lot. It's a good way to grow up.
The name of the book is It Takes One to Tango. We've been talking with Winifred Reilly today. And Winifred, do you have a website you can direct people to get more information about the book?
Yep. The website, not so hard to remember, onetotango.com.
Great. I know you're doing a couple more book events out in California. Hopefully sometime you'll head to Florida, but if not, we'll definitely talk to you on the phone again. But thanks for being with us today.
Oh, it's really been a pleasure. Thanks for having me. Bye.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or Doug Miles